Heathcliff, it's me, Kathy, come home, I'm so cold. Let me in at your window. Those were the famous wailings of crazy-eyed teenage banshee Kate Bush back in 1978 in the hit single Wuthering Heights, in which she begged her husband Heathcliff to return from the pub and put the heating on because she had no idea on how to work the bloody thermostat. But would she whine in quite the same manner had she traded the moderate chill of southern England for the bone-snapping ice storms of the Arctic wilderness? Probably not, as she'd be dead in minutes. The only joy she'd be able to grant anyone as a depressing lolly for a passing polar bear. Unfortunately, Kate Bush does not feature in Frost as either a survivor, a ghost, or a woman/polar bear boss battle. But don't let that stop you from giving this harrowing deck builder a try, as it is an addictive little clash of innovating resource management and the true-to-life hopelessness of attempting and repeatedly failing to outrun the cold wrath of Mother Nature. Although easy to grasp, the mechanics of Frost are never quite so simple as to allow you to blindly click your way through a handful of turns on the trot. Your goal is to trek across a stretch of treacherous frozen wilderness before the deadly chilly menace of the title, represented by a counter that lurches forever downwards, catches up to you and turns you into nothing more useful than a serial killer's toboggan. To escape each area, you'll have to fulfill the food, material and survivor requirements shown to you. Sometimes you'll get lucky and be dealt the correct toll straight away, but more often than not you'll have to make tough decisions about whether or not to sacrifice your survivors to go scavenging for supplies, which can result in anything from the card you want to an untimely death, place your faith in a chance-based area event, or give up some resources for an idea card for a special effect. Sat on top of that is the inevitability that you will be attacked by wolves or cannibals, both of which must be fought off with spears, or in the case of cannibals, fruit. Fruit. Some fucking cannibals, right? Fail to find a suitable weapon or food to pay your tormentors, and you'll lose health before you can move. You could always choose to stay and forage for something to murder them with, but your resources are so very meagre, and the cold promise of death creeps ever closer with every turn you waste. Another grievous icicle through your testicles comes in the form of fatigue cards, which do nothing less aggravating than clog up precious space in your hand. You can give up an entire turn to remove them, but again, the gamble for any long-term advantage this might grant you is set against the deadly march of the frost at your back. Now, many of these deck building games can't help but employ similar mechanics, so their enjoyment and playability really comes down to how well they fit into their aesthetic themes. Between its sparse white interface and eerie ambient soundtrack, Frost certainly has its point of service delivery covered, but it's the malevolent cruelty of the game itself that grants it the character to stand out from other titles of its genre. There are times when Frost may seem overbearingly unfair, even on the easiest setting, but much of the blame sits on the player's frivolous resource management in early turns. As a deck building game, there is a level of unpredictability that will inevitably strike even the most well-prepared survivalist, but if you haphazardly spunk all your food and materials without foraging from the environment to get ahead in the opening act, you're going to be starving in wintry hell with the cannibals at your back later on when it matters. Although Frost is fairly priced for what it is, maybe the only serious criticism to be levelled at it is that it could do with being a little more expansive in its current deck options, offering the player at the very least some level of customization. To be fair, it does a great job of eking its limitations out, as each new game you finish grants you additional cards to use and new specialised scenarios to fight through, such as this one where you roleplay a father trying to keep his family alive in the wastes, as tempting as it is to feed your ugly nagging wife to the wolves. Still, Frost is an entertaining and engrossing standout for me in a genre I'm not particularly fond of, and so I wholeheartedly recommend it, especially for beginners to deck builders on account of its excellent tutorial system. I'll be back for the Kate Bush and/or Killer Snowman DLC.